Hello and a big welcome back to the Wee Laura channel. Today we're going to be using the lovely Orkney mature cheddar to make these delicious cheesy chicken pinwheels. My kids absolutely loved this recipe. It was so delicious. We had them for lunch the next day as well, and they would also work really well as picnic food. So I think we're definitely going to try that next time. So for this lovely recipe, you want to pause at these ingredients here. And we're just going to start by adding a little bit of oil into a frying pan. So you could use butter or whatever you have to hand. So if you just pop your oil into the pan there, and we're then going to add in our leeks, onions and garlic into the frying pan. We're going to cook those on a medium heat for about 5 minutes or so, just until they are nice and soft. So we're using the lovely Orkney mature cheddar here today. Orkney cheddar is produced with locally sourced milk from the Orkney Isles, and they follow a traditional recipe and process as well. So once your onions and leeks are nice and soft, we're then going to add in our chicken pieces. So our chicken is chopped up into quite small pieces here. You want it quite small just to make it easier to roll when it comes to rolling up your pastry. So we're just going to give that a good stir through, and we're just going to heat that through on the same kind of temperature just until it is nice and hot. And we're going to add some pepper and salt in there as well. So we want to season this really well. You could also add a little bit of spice in here. You could add a bit of chili. You could add some cayenne pepper in here as well, or some chili sauce if you want a little bit spicier. You could also add some fresh herbs in here too. But just to keep things simple for the kids, I have just added in pepper and salt. So once that is nice and cooked through, we're going to set that to the side just to cool, so that it is nice and cool for putting onto our pastry. So we're going to roll out our pastry. Make sure your pastry's been sitting out at room temperature before you roll it out, because it does tend to crack if it is too cold. We're just going to lay that out completely flat, and then we're going to pop our cooled chicken mixture over the top of our pastry. So if you just pour all your mixture out onto your pastry here, and we're just going to spread that out to the sides. You could also sprinkle in some herbs here as well. You could add a little bit of onion chutney if you wanted to. That would also work really well in here, or any other chutney as well. We're just going to spread that out there until it is reaching the edges. And we're then going to sprinkle over our lovely Orkney cheddar. And it should look something like this when you are ready to pop on your cheese. So we're going to sprinkle over all of our lovely Orkney cheddar here on top, and we're then going to roll this huge pastry piece up into a large sausage shape. So you've just spread your cheese out as much as you can over the chicken mixture, and we're then going to roll up our pastry from the short side. It's actually easier using two hands. I'm just using one hand so that you can visually get an idea of what I'm doing here. So if you just roll it up, you can use the paper to help you as well. You should have something that looks like this when it is rolled up. So I'm just using the paper here just to sort of squeeze the edges together, and just to make sure everything is nice and tight before we slice it for our dish. So I have a little bit of spray oil in my dish here. You could use a bit of butter or brush a bit of olive oil in there as well. And I'm just slicing this up into quite thick slices. You want them quite thick so that they are easy to handle. And so you're looking for about 2 to 3 centimeters thick when you're slicing. It looks lovely inside as well. We just love this recipe. It's so easy to make, and you could also make it with vegetarian haggis would work really well in here as well. Or you could also maybe make it with like sausage or pork mince or something, might work well in here too. I know that's the kind of thing that they like to sell in the butchers around here, so that would also probably work well here as well. So if you just slice it all up, when you have all your slices, you just want to pop them all into the dish. Make sure they have a little bit of space next to each other, because they are going to rise a little bit in the oven, being a puff pastry and all. So you just want to leave a little bit of space. You can sprinkle over a little bit of cheese here as well if you want to. You don't have to. But we're then going to pop that into the oven at 180 for 20 to 30 minutes. So keep a close eye. You don't want to burn them. Just take them out when the pastry is ready, and they should look something like this when they are ready. And I'm sure you'll agree they will smell amazing. And at this point you could sprinkle over some fresh herbs as well. You could serve these up with roasted vegetables, salad if you're in the spring, and salad always works nice for a lunch as well and make things a little bit lighter. If you cool them, and you can take them out on a picnic as well. You could take them out warm on a picnic if you want to, wrap them up in some tin foil, but they just are really, really delicious. So they should look something like this. The pastry is cooked all the way through around the sides, and inside we have our lovely cheesy chicken mixture. The leeks and onions just work so well in this recipe as well. As I said, you could also add a little bit of chutney in there if you wanted to as well, or you could just serve them up with chutney. That would also work well. So I hope you enjoyed making this lovely recipe. If you did, please feel free to give this video a big thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed, if you click subscribe and the little bell next to it, I will see you guys again soon. You can also get a copy of my free traditional Scottish cookbook over on my website angiemilne.com, and I'm also on Instagram, so pop over and say hello. Take care, lots of love, bye bye.